What's going on, everybody? It's your boy PTK Bland back in the building with another episode of the Shop Podcast. How is everybody feeling this evening? We are back another Saturday. Appreciate you guys watching, everybody in chat live hanging out right now. Thank you guys for the continued support every single week. You guys are always hanging out, showing up, showing out here at the Shop Podcast. We do greatly appreciate all you guys. Hit the like button. We're working some things out behind the scenes here, so we're gonna work some things out. As you can see, we're one man down, but give me a second here
Mic check, mic check.
so we can
Can
hear
hear you,
you,
Fuzz.
Fuzz.
Yes, finally.
All right, there we go, guys. shout out Shout out to Chad hanging out, Fifth Horseman, Shown 2, Ghost Fixer, everybody hanging out. Once again, hit the subscribe button, like button if you're new here. Thank you guys for the support. Hang out, kick your feet up. You're going to get a lot of good content, a lot of good topic today. Our man of the hour is not here yet. Looks like he may be coming in hot. So, we'll keep the show going, but hopefully he'll pop in here at some point. So shout out to K Asante for hanging out with us. That is going to be our guest as soon as he gets here. So shout out to him, knowing everybody at the Game of Circle podcast, Everborn, everybody. Shout out to them over there, man. But I got my two compadres here. You guys know we can rock this show. We do it plenty of times. So I'll go ahead and be quiet here. Let you guys know how their week's been and kind of what's been going on with them. So we'll start with you, Pong. I know we kind of talk behind the scenes, and it's been a lot going on. Kind of where you're at. But otherwise, how are you doing?
Doing pretty good, sir. Yeah, we had storms roll through and lost power until about 45 minutes ago. So that was fun for a while. But you know what? I had a great week, ultra busy week, and I was sick for the beginning of the week because I got sun poisoning last weekend from going to the air show, and like a dummy, not putting on any type of sunscreen whatsoever. So I got fried. Like, I can't remember the last time I had that kind of sunburn in my life. So that was awful. But as the week rolled on, I got much better. And here I am back at it again with two of my favorite people in the world, and yourself and Fuzzy on the Shop Podcast. But yeah, man, gaming wise, it's been an interesting week. Listen, I'm deep into Borderlands 3. Again, my looter shooter addiction is well known.
Nice.
It has clicked with me, and I am just having an absolute blast. So I'm doing that. And then, of course, we had some games drop into Game Pass this week. And nope, I'm not doing what everybody else is doing with Power Washing Simulator. That is not my style. I'm not playing that game. I'm actually, I
thought you were sold.
No, it's not game of the year for me. It's not any of that. Again, shout out to everybody who's having a good time. It's number 4 on the most played list of Game Pass. So there's something there. It's just simulating games have never done it for me. So I just never downloaded it. But
yeah,
that same night I did download As Dusk Falls, and
I'm hearing great things about that game, man.
Yeah, look, I'm going to finish it off this weekend, but that first night I meant to just pop into it real quick. I just wanted to check it out real quick and see how it was. And next thing I knew, I had played through the entire first book. For people who don't know, it's broken up into 2 books, 3 chapters each, and I was sucked in within the first 5 minutes. Could not stop playing it. The story, the narrative, absolutely phenomenal. From a first-time studio, a small studio, the acting is off the charts. The music is phenomenal. And some of the best writing I've seen in this type of game in a long time. And I again, these types of games are hit or miss for me. Like Life is Strange and those type of games never hit. So it's few and far between that I get one of these games, these really narrative type games that I really feel like I need to finish. But this one, top of the list already. Decision making and everything, just awesome stuff from the studio Interior Night. Shout out to them. So I did play that this week as well. And then I did finally have a chance before the storms rolled through today to hop into Hot Wheels DLC for about an hour. I'm not the biggest Hot Wheels guy. I like real cars. I was a Hot Wheels kid. I had a ton of them. Wish my mom never would have gotten rid of them. She saved a lot of my toys, but didn't save my Hot Wheels. But just I'd rather play on realistic type tracks. But this is gigantic, and this is really fun. And for the hour that I put into it today, I was having a blast with it. So really thoroughly enjoying it. I know a ton of people are loving this DLC. I can see why would they went back to it again. And again, it is just gigantic. I can't believe how
Yeah,
big
I've
this
heard.
world is.
Fuzz was
So,
telling me.
yeah,
Freaking
yeah.
huge.
So yeah, I had a great time with that, and yeah, that's been about it right now. That's what I've been into right now. I finally deleted NBA 2K22.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
That's a step. That's a step, folks.
it is. It's a huge step. I had to make room. Dust Falls is about 70 gigs, so I had to make room. I was going through my list, and I finally said to myself, I looked at my time played. I was like 258 hours in NBA 2K22, and I was like, do I really want to keep doing domination mode? I've got a whole team full of Dark Matter 99 players. Am I really invested in it anymore? I said, nope, it's time to delete. So I deleted that finally.
Wow, that's a big step.
Yep.
That's awesome. No, shout out to you, man. Appreciate you, Pong. Battery of the podcast. You guys know Pong bringing it every week. Super consistent. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to Andrew. See you on the flip side, brother. If you got to watch the replay, appreciate you. That's going to be up right after the podcast ends, brother. So thank you for just popping in. What's up, Zink? We need them hot takes. We did not get very many last week. That was pretty disappointing. So I'm fully expecting this week to be full of hot takes. Zink, shout out to you, bro, for hanging out with us. What's up? What just happened? How you doing, bro, for hanging out with us as well, man? But we're going to get to Mr. Fuzzy Belvedere, man. How your week been? What you been playing? What you been up to?
Well, I'm doing pretty good. AC is fixed at the house. Kids are at the grandparents. Man, let's see what else. Oh, I already see Zink has a hot take on The Last of Us, but I kind of agree with the part of it. Let's see. Played a bit of the Hot Wheels DLC, and yeah, it's. I would say it's probably about 3 times the size of the original DLC that they used for Forza Horizon 3. It's definitely a big step up compared to what they did for Horizon 3. But man, I haven't been gaming as much as I would like. Like I haven't gotten into As Dust Falls because I kind of feel it's one of those games where, like, kind of like what Pong was saying, you start playing it, it's like, oh, I'll just do it for a quick minute or two, and 3 hours later, you'll be hooked on it. And I want to at least get through the Hot Wheels DLC and play Stray on my Steam Deck, and I don't know if I want to try the Power Wash Simulator because I hear a lot of people get hooked on that too. But man, oh man, I always go back to my old habits: some Division 2, some Insurgency, some GT. But that Hot Wheels DLC has pretty much got me going, and I don't know how many achievements I got out of it, but I haven't even really finished the A-class races yet, and I already got pretty much all the track, discovered all the roads, and there was a couple other things I did to try to clear through some of the accolades. But man, oh man, I'm just enjoying it right now.
Awesome. Shout out to you, man. A lot of people are really enjoying that, man. So it was a home run, another feather in the cap, for Playground. They're the best in the business at that. So shout out to everybody watching live, man. General Spartan, what's up with you, brother? Once again, shown to mod of the year here, man. So once again, people, appreciate you guys. Hopefully our guest of our guest of honor here pops in here at some point. But if not, we're gonna rock this thing out either way, man. Shout out to everybody watching live. So first thing we're gonna start with is the poll of the week. Something that we do here, pretty big tradition at the Shop Podcast. So follow me at my Twitter account below. That's where you'll find the Shop Podcast as well as the poll of the week. All information below. And then we'll talk about it here at the Shop Podcast on Saturday. So this week's topic was, if you could pick one dev from Xbox and one dev from PlayStation to collab and make a game, which pair would it be? So I had some cool collabs. So it was a pretty hard question. That's what most people said, at least. Sony, Santa Monica, Bethesda, Coalition, Naughty Dog, 343 Guerrilla Games, Obsidian, Insomniac. So some pretty cool pairings. Once again, chat, let us know how you guys feel about that. But we're going to start with Mr. Pong Soul here. Which one did he vote for? Did he vote at all? I don't know if my streak continues here. That's really the big question.
Well, PTK. Listen. No, your streak does continue, sir. Your streak does continue. You had a nice poll this week. It was very well done. It was very well thought out. So I got to give you your flowers for sure. because again, we've had our issues in the past with your polls, but you are on a nice streak right now. Okay, so here's the deal. This was semi tough, okay, because these are great pairings, and I thought you did a nice job, right? Obviously, nobody compare with Bethesda because I don't want anybody mixing their garbage in with my Bethesda.
Oh my
okay,
goodness!
So that one did get thrown out the gate, right? The minute I looked at that, I'm like, no.
Prejudice, man. That is ridiculous.
Yeah, I am. But Bethesda's perfect the way they are. I don't want them mixing with anybody else. Okay, so I just want them to continue to do what they do. Okay, so period. So that one got thrown out. Then you had the Coalition Naughty Dog. Now this was probably the most interesting one out of all of them as far as I was concerned, because I sat back and I thought about what they would do and how they would complement each other. And I thought it could work out really, really well. You could come up with some very interesting games between those two highly, highly talented studios, right? The problem I had with this is, who would run it? And if it's Druckmann running it, I don't trust Druckmann anymore. And I wouldn't want him telling Coalition what to do. And so I don't think that would happen. I don't think that would be a good mix. Let's put it that way. So I kind of nixed that one right away. 343 and Guerrilla Games. Well, look, we get a pretty cool, you know what? It'd be interesting with the Killzone experience and with the Halo experience, mixing those two together, what those two squads, we'd probably get one hell of a sci-fi shooter out of those two for sure. Yeah. It would be pretty damn cool. Like if you gave Killzone Halo's gunplay, damn, that would be pretty impressive. So that one was all right, but then you had this last combination. And I think this one, this one absolutely blows away all the other three combinations you had, PTK. I thought once I saw this one, I was like, oh, nope, it's a wrap right here. This is it. Absolutely 100%. You're talking about two teams who absolutely not only complement each other in so many different ways, but also have a lot of the same type of philosophy studio-wise and how they like to put out games on a consistent basis, what kind of wizards they got going on in there that allows them to pump out game after game. You've got some of the most creative minds in there between those two teams in the industry right now. You got some of the best writers in the world in there as well. Look, Obsidian Insomniac would make probably a game that we never thought of, or they would take a genre. Let's say you take Insomniac's greatness with a superhero game, and then you throw in Obsidian's RPG style decision making, writing, and you combine those two together. We got some a fantastic chance at getting some grandiose, out of the world type superhero RPG that we've never seen before. So yeah, I went with Obsidian Insomniac after all that. That's where I went on this one.
I mean, you actually can't go wrong. It's funny because as I did the pairings, I didn't really, it's really subconscious. I didn't really think about the pairings as much. Like looking at it now, I'm looking at them like, wow, that was all pretty much subconscious. So thank you for people saying the pairings were good. So glad it was hard too, because I try and make these pretty difficult. So sometimes they can be fairly easy, but if it's Storm 2 Pong, I'm pretty sure it gave a lot of other people trouble as well. But that's the pairing I would have picked as well. Here we go. Hold on 1 second.
Oh, is Hollywood here? Oh, here we go.
Oh, there he is.
Oh, Hollywood decided to join us. Oh, look at you. Hot off the set, I'm sure, Kay Asante. Sorry we had to bother your night.
Apologies, ladies and gentlemen. Sincere apologies. Forgive me. Please let me have it.
The Vanity Hour is here. No,
let me have it. I deserve it. I apologize. I am tardy to your show. It was not meant to be this way. It just kind of happened. I do apologize. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good, brother. No problems, man. So once again, chat. Shout out to Kay Asante coming through. As I said, he would probably pop in. How you feeling, brother?
Yeah. Oh, I'm feeling good, man. How are you guys doing? I've been keeping up with y'all exploits. It seems like so far you're off without a hitch.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know the wheels already greased. It don't take too long here to sound. We've been doing this
Indeed.
for a little while, just a little bit, But
I appreciate the invite, good sir. Thank you.
not a problem, man. So we were in the middle of a hot topic here as far as the poll of the week. I don't know if you caught that or voted on it, but we were looking at the different options. Pong picked the Obsidian Insomniac option. Not that there's actually a bad choice, because to be honest, I always try and make these as balanced and as hard as possible. So I guess we could swing this through to you, Asante, since you popped in here.
Let's see. Yeah, your options were not easy, bro. I remember.
That's what I've heard. Yeah.
I think I was probably one of the first to vote on this one. Darn. I don't even recall which one I voted on. Let me see. Let me go right back through it. I do recall I was just sitting there scratching my head for a long time, going, "Why the heck is he making us choose these things?" I apologize. Hold up. Let me see which option was it? Poll of the week. Give me a second here. I'm looking at my past voting. I apologize. Put me out of my misery. What were my choices?
So you had
Sony Santa Monica and Bethesda.
Mhm.
Choice 2 is the Coalition and Naughty Dog. Choice 3 is 343 and Guerrilla Games. And choice 4 was Obsidian and then Insomniac.
That was my choice. Yeah. That was my choice, and I think I was a minority in that choice as well, because although people really love Insomniac, it seems like maybe they had other ideas on other studios instead. I think mine ended up. What was the ending total? I think mine was in the minority.
No. It was actually tied 44% for the best option. So, yeah, a lot of other people felt that way too. I was actually pretty surprised.
That is the correct answer, Case.
Yeah. So, I don't know, but all right,
That's
cool.
awesome.
Yeah. So once again, I mean, I don't know if you have any ideas on what kind of game they will make, and kind of how that will work in your head.
Oh wow, that's an interesting take. See, and I never went. I never thought beyond like something superhero related, because they're really good at that. But something with a bit more substance than a flashy, like the flashy games they've made today. Not that the flashy games they've made are bad, but just the pairing of the two studios together would just lead to more complex storytelling, I would think. So whatever it may be, I suspect it would be something a lot more complicated than we initially thought it would be, because they tend to try and go there. And of course, Insomniac being Insomniac, it would be very, very complete and very polished in my eye. But something superhero related, I would be thinking.
Okay. All right. Cool. No, that once again, there's really no wrong option here, but that was my choice as well, Asante. So I think we 3 for 3 here already. So I feel like a lot of people voted for that option as well. And once again, I think none of the pairings are really bad. I mean, all of them, I think we would get phenomenal games. So like I said, chat, really no wrong answer, but let us know in chat which one you guys pick. Shout out to Mav jumping in here, getting some FSP love. So I'm sure we're going to have some other FSP members dropping here later on, but shout out to you, Mav. But we're going to throw this over to Mr. Fuzzy Belvedere, man. Are we 4 for 4 or are we breaking the streak?
Well, you know me. I went with something not on the list.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Now, keep in mind, Obsidian and Insomniac. I can't speak today. That would be the super pairing out of the options there. I mean, there are some great studio pair ups on here, but I'm just thinking as far as like the teams that have kind of carried each platform to some extent. I would say those are the two hardest working studios as far as producing games and producing games that people enjoy for hours on end type of thing. So not a slight to any of the others, but those out of those choices would be my choice. But for me, being a racing fan, I went off script. I went with Turn 10 and Polyphony Digital, but I also want Playground Games involved. Now hear me out as far as the concept of the game that they would be working on. We all know Ubisoft is having issues with, making games that people seem to enjoy beyond some of their pillar franchises. But The Crew is one of those that's kind of like, it's ambitious, but it hasn't really, I guess, hit its stride. Can you imagine through the power of like Bing Maps or something along those lines, having the crew style game where it's pretty much the entire country from coast to coast, as far as having Playground Games kind of work on the environmental detail, have Polyphony Digital work on the car detail, have Turn 10 implement the ray tracing to that car detail, as well as work on most, if not all, of the physics aspects of you know, the gameplay itself. I think having it where you can race from like your selected house to the track and have street races on the way to the track or something along those lines. I think that collaboration, as far as having each one of those studios kind of put their hand into it, as far as crafting the roads in between the tracks and the tracks themselves. I think from a racing fan standpoint, that would be, you know, everybody's wet dream as far as racing games are concerned. But that's just my 2 cents as far as having a big studio collaboration. But having Turn 10, Playground Games, and Polyphony Digital, I obviously I don't think it would ever happen, but yeah, that would be my choice, because it would give me basically a bit of everything that I would want in a racing game.
Awesome. And once again, sorry for leaving that off. You know, excuse me for leaving that off for real, man. Because as soon as you voted, I was like, oh my God, that is super obvious. But once again, chat, appreciate you guys for voting on the poll every single Monday on my Twitter account. So please follow below. Appreciate you guys' support, man. We're going to move on to the next topic. We're greasing the wheels around here at the Shop Podcast, man. So we're talking a little bit about this next topic. And we're going to be talking about Discord coming to Xbox. And this was actually something that was kind of came out of nowhere, to be honest with you, because I know for me personally, I didn't have any indication as to this happening anytime soon. Because obviously the last I had heard, and you know, most of us had saw that they had made that deal with, you know, PlayStation and Sony, that it was coming to PS5, which it still is. I'm sure it's coming, you know, right at some point in time. So hearing that it was coming to Xbox first was kind of interesting. So we'll get some takes around here. We'll start with, I guess, Mr. K. Asante. So where are you at on, you know, just one Discord coming to Xbox? It was kind of just out of nowhere. You know, I don't think I had heard anything prior to that this was supposed to be announced or anything. I don't know if you had, maybe.
No, indeed. I mean, when we heard the whole Discord wanting to be closer to game consoles thing, you know, I suspected it was just a matter of time, because as you can see, you know, on many occasions that's exactly what happens. They enjoy that marketing with one team only to then, you know, present the same option to another team. It's just par for the course when separating yourself in the market. That's fine, but as far as my thoughts on Discord as a whole, I've tended to not be necessarily the biggest Discord person. I mean, I've had Discord, I've been playing around with it, but for my purposes, it hasn't really necessarily been my main driving force. But I do know a lot of folks who are very much into using Discord as their main method of communication, specifically when they're gaming. So this is like major news for somebody who lives in that world. I was actually I spoke about this briefly on my show this morning, and the Wandering Dutch was there, and he gave a very interesting response, which I will regurgitate here for your benefit. But shout out to Dutch for actually putting me in that different mindset of it, which I thought was very interesting. They're basically threading the needle to having a console be your point of entry to be a podcaster. Basically, with this done, once you have this completely solidified, this will be the easiest method to basically join a podcast or be on a podcast, because it'll be right from the console. All they need to do is then allow, I don't know, webcam mics to be easily accessible, which the console already supports, right? You can just use any kind of off-the-shelf USB mic. I'm talking about camera, and that's still accessible. It's like, it's a very weird entry point, but it's kind of a interesting thing to think about, because at some point, you know, they're giving you so many options. You can leverage basically this system that you've already liked instead of their own system that we've always had issues with, right? And of course, there's also talk of when will BattleNet also be integrated, because it's only a matter of time on that side of the house, which everyone also knows is a better solution than what they have. So I always think this is so interesting that Microsoft gives you all these interesting options, and we will see ultimately which one survives, right? my man Everborn seems to suggest this is the beginning signs that they're giving up on their own backbone and they're leveraging others that seem to work better. But I doubt that's the case. I'm pretty sure there will always be some kind of
Party
uh,
chat or
party chat, exactly.
yeah.
Even though they know damn well that, hey, it looks like our offerings aren't the one that everybody's using. So all right, let's just give some options to the various other sources out there, being in this case what they're doing here with Discord. So I just think it's very interesting all around, and I'm looking forward to seeing where this leads, because this really speaks to more of a world where you have multi-platform games, cross-gen, wherever anyone happens to be playing, PC players versus this player versus that player. The communication method is basically, with this move, you've solved that. So the question becomes, what else becomes the barrier? It's very interesting to see that we're in this space, and I'm there for it. I think it's pretty interesting. Now, the two things that I have questions about is, how are they planning to integrate this better? Because right now, from what you can tell, if you guys have read the steps, the logistics of getting it done, it is quite some hoops you have to jump through, which is a little odd.
Seamless. It's not quite seamless.
And two, you kind of your phone becomes instrumental in the process, because it doesn't really have the full implementation of Discord on there. It's kind of piggybacking off of your phone signal, which is a very interesting solution. But I wonder if this is just a stopgap while they integrate the whole thing in, because you'd want the whole thing, right? Then you'd get video as well, and you'd get all the other benefits that Discord usually presents your user. And in this instance, it's very much a hodgepodge kind of. Of course, Microsoft doing it in their own style, right? This is very interesting the way they've integrated it, but I would imagine we'd want the whole deal to make it really useful to the consumer. So it's interesting to see where it's going to go.
100% correct, and I'm hopefully we're going to see that evolve over time and that get more seamlessly integrated, because you're right. Yep. Right now, it's not really. That's really not the business.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's really a bit tough to, get through that entry point as far as just setting it up and getting it to actually work. So, but once again, it is kind of seeing how quickly this came about. It's kind of neat that they were able to get it done, to any capacity at all, because we had no idea that this was even being worked on, that this was even a thing. Last thing, like I said, we knew, and you can probably follow me up with this as well, Asante. They had to deal with Sony, right? PlayStation.
Mm-hmm, yep.
Who knows? Maybe that comes with Sony, and maybe Sony's able to get it to work. Who knows? I don't know. You know.
Yeah.
What I mean?
Hey. I will. And I've said this whenever I get the opportunity to. I say this, as much of an Xbox fan as I am. When it comes to certain UI elements, cough, capture devices and all that, it seems that Sony seems to have it far more together. So who knows? We shall see how it ends up working, but. I hope, and I've already stood there on that square from day one. I hope that Microsoft learns a bit from Sony when it comes to that, because the capture system on Xbox right now is absolutely horrendous. So if that is any indication on how they will integrate the systems in, right now Sony's capture system is pretty top tier, in console speak anyway. You can get a lot done with that thing. I don't know too many people that use it, but the capabilities are there to really go to town with that solution. So, hopefully, whatever the solution may be, I mean, we're seeing it back and forth here. Every time somebody like exalts smart delivery for coming through and making things easy, they get a pat on their own back. And every time somebody goes through some ridiculous method to get something done, that's a method. And of course, they put it on Twitter, because, if it's not on Twitter, it doesn't exist. Hopefully that will lead to them recognizing that, hey, maybe we should get on the horn here and actually innovate in this UI space and possibly do a better job of what they've been doing. So here's to hoping, I'm still holding out hope.
Consistent with that energy. Go back in the videos, people. We've been consistent with that energy, right? Everybody here at the Shop Podcast. So, once again, we keeping it fair, keeping it balanced here, man. So shout out to you, Asante. Once again, appreciate you, man. Great take. Leading us into that topic, man. Appreciate you. Always super informative, bro. And I do agree with a lot of those points as well. With the Discord integration, as far as where this relationship is going to go with Xbox and Discord, and how this is all going to shake out. But once again, we like shake up. These little things like this happen in the industry. I kind of like when stuff like this happens. It's kind of neat, because once again, this shows that Phil, they're really trying to get stuff done. You know what I mean? They are listening, they are aware of, things, and trends and where things are going. So it's kind of cool that we see things like this. But let's throw this over to you, Pong. Once again, kind of a left field thing. I don't think I know you're mayor of Speculation Town, and I don't know if you got anything on your end about this. It caught wind of this happening at all.
No, definitely not. This is something that a lot of people are clamoring for, and obviously with the the acquisition talk that was happening, where obviously Discord was just using Microsoft and Xbox to increase their value. It was never serious from their side of things. I don't believe it was, probably serious on Microsoft's side, but definitely not on Discord's side. But once that fell all apart, then like you said, PTK, the next thing we knew, we were hearing a deal between Sony and Discord, and it seemed like it was all radio silence on Xbox's side, Microsoft's side, when it came to Discord. Now, Jez indicated yesterday on the Xbox 2 that he had spoken to somebody who would be in the know from Microsoft, who said this deal has been in the works since like 2017, 2018, I think he said. Something like that. So this has been talks ongoing and figuring out how they were going to integrate this for a very long time. So obviously, like you just said, PTK, and how we, that was brought up in our DMs when this went down. It's just, even if Microsoft and Xbox are being quiet, it's always good to know that they're working on stuff behind the scenes, and these things do come about even when they're not out in front talking about it, that they're still working on things to improve the quality of life, even if it's not going to be for a mass majority of people, unless they figure out how to simplify this process. Because I listened to, I knew it was complicated. I had looked at Jez's article about it, and I knew it was complicated. But then I heard Rand describe it yesterday, and I was like, what? I'm like, QR codes? I'm like, what are we doing? Like, really? We're going to ask people to do this to join a chat? Okay. So I think if they do need to work on simplifying it at some point and getting it down. Otherwise, how many people are actually going to use this? I think you're limiting it unless you have those hardcore Discord people, or games like a Battlefield become, entirely cross play, so that you have friends who are on PC, you have friends who are on PlayStation and Xbox, who all have access to Discord, and they're actually going to go through the steps to make this happen so that you guys can all chat together. Like, it's going to be very specific times that this is used, right? And then to be able to get a group of people together and say, all right, people, who's done all the downloading, and who's got this whole thing worked out, and who hasn't, because we're going to have to walk you through this process. Again, it's just not user friendly at this point for a lot of us. Like, it's just not convenient. But again, just giving us the option is a big thing. And there was a lot of people asking for this integration between Discord and Xbox. And that's the most important thing, is that they listened to that and they found a way to get it done. Even if it's not the most perfect way right now, they found a way to get the deal done and make it happen. And I think that's the important thing here to take away from this. It's just one more feature to add to a growing list of features when you hop into the Xbox ecosystem that you're going to be able to take advantage of. Now, like Kay Asante said, there are things that they now already have in place that they have to go fix that have been broken for a long time, such as the clip sharing and all that kind of stuff. And their main competitor in Sony, whether they look at them that way or not, doesn't matter. They have a console out there that competes 1-for-1 with Xbox Series that does it a whole lot better. And back in the day, Xbox had a suite of tools that people could use to produce clips. And now Sony's taken it to the next level with some of the editing and stuff that you can do on their clips. It's free advertising. So they do have to work on some of this stuff that is available. But at the end of the day, it's still a fact that it is available. And Discord is, as you pointed out, PTK, one more feather in their cap. That, again, when you sign up for this ecosystem, when you purchase an Xbox Series console, you're going to know that's there for you and your friends to go ahead and use as a chat option. Or, again, never thought of it the way that Wandering Dutch did, that obviously Kay Asante brought up. Maybe it does present the opportunity for more people to hop into podcasting. Maybe we are one step closer for more access for people to get involved in that way, just by having this integration as well. And if that's the case, hey, that's just one more layer that we didn't even think about or a lot of us didn't even think about off the top. So I love what they're doing. I think this is a great deal for everybody involved. I was glad to see it happen. Surprised, just as everybody else. Obviously, Sony announced the deal and still doesn't have any integration, and it's just a wonder. Maybe it's not as easy, even though they might have some better tools as far as we're talking about the clip sharing and all that kind of stuff. Maybe their back end stuff isn't as easy because they haven't invested as much as obviously Microsoft and Xbox has over the years. Maybe they're having a harder time getting it integrated, but for whatever reason, Xbox is first out the gate with it, and I got to applaud it. It's a great deal for a lot of people.
Awesome. And once again, he's 100% correct. This is a feature that a lot of people talked about as opposed to having the standard party chat option. And obviously there were rumors out there, and we did see, I believe Xbox did actually put in a bid to purchase Discord. Obviously that was turned down. Pong basically saying he don't believe it, that was even a real bid. He thinks that, obviously that they were just
they use that to gas up their own stock prices. Yeah.
But
shrewd move on their part too.
I know,
shrewd move, right?
Very Gordon Gecko, right? But
indeed.
We're gonna go ahead and throw this to Mr. Fuzzy Belvedere. And once again, Fuzz, you gotta remember on this one, man. So it's a pretty big deal. Discord is huge on the PC side of things. The integration is not where it needs to be. So hopefully that evolves and they get this thing, seamlessly integrated, so that way it's an easier feature to use for more people. But go ahead, man. I don't know if you tried it yet, but just kind of your opinion on the kind of out of nowhere announcement.
Well, I haven't tried it, but I think the big thing is it leads more to a more unified future as far as for crossplay and things along those lines. Like, I think the biggest thing, although it is kind of funny how it was announced for PlayStation first and it's yet to make its appearance, but it is one of those things where you can look at, all right, for the future of like crossplay games, you're not going to be able to have them in your party chat or something along those lines. So what better way to have something that's a stopgap across all platforms, whether your friends are on PC or Xbox or PlayStation, you at least have some form of go-to communication without it being something that's kind of, made to fit type of deal. Discord has kind of been doing stuff along these lines for a bit, at least on the PC side of things, and people have been using it to podcast with. And it's an awesome idea as far as giving more people the opportunity to dip their toes into podcasting or streaming and things along those lines. But on the Xbox side of things, it's great that they're welcoming in a lot of these third-party apps. Like, look at how the integration of Twitch is set. Look at how now they're offering options as far as Discord. I mean, if YouTube or if Google would stop being, I guess I won't say greedy bastards, but they have their own agendas as far as when it comes to their streaming service. And I know they've been butting heads with Microsoft as far as the YouTube streaming and uploads and things like that. But I think this is at least a good step in the right direction, and hopefully a lot more third-party apps will start allowing or working with Microsoft, especially when it comes to gaming and kind of, I wouldn't say give in, but at least, be willing to work out or work things out as far as integration and stuff. But having this Discord deal out of nowhere, it's awesome. Hopefully PlayStation has theirs up and running here soon. So for anybody that's looking to do cross-play games on things like The Division, perfect example, it would definitely come in handy. But it's great to see. Hopefully more stuff gets worked on. Yes, please let them fix that freaking DVR, because it's been downright frustrating ever since the transition from the Xbox One X over to Series X. But the Discord thing is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's super awesome. Once again, out of nowhere. And shout out to Mr. Kima. Shout out to Steel Rain sliding in here. Once again, stalking you, Pong. Can't get away from him at all.
Never. We're attached at the hip. Although I got away from him last week and I felt like I was missing a half my body. So
okay. Well, shout out to Steel Rain, always coming through, hanging out, bringing that energy. My guy, appreciate you, man, hanging out with us, bro. So we're gonna move on in this topic, and we actually got somebody who's who has an intimate knowledge of the Halo universe,
Oh,
you were right
Lord,
on
here we
set.
go.
We just happen to have someone.
So y'all
on
just
set.
bring me out here just to clown me, right? I understand. Good job. You go for it. Go for it.
I mean, isn't this a coincidence, people?
Uh-huh.
Chad,
Sure.
this is a
Uh-huh.
coincidence. Anyway, so so no. Once again, we're gonna go ahead and be talking about a little bit about the Halo Forge, a little bit about Halo Infinite Co-op as well. We want to dive into a little bit of that. I'm just gonna throw this out here. I've been keeping an eye on a lot of the Forge stuff on Twitter, and I've been following a couple people that post clips. Man, some of the stuff I've seen out of that, it kind of then I don't know if you'll follow me up on this, Asante, but they've kind of taken the approach of, well, the Halo community doesn't seem to think we can do it the right way, so here you guys do it. You know, kind of like, you know what I mean? Like they're damn near. It's based on what I've seen. They're damn near giving you a dev kit outside of a
Yeah.
you can get to the dev tools that made the damn game. You know what I mean? Without being too
absolutely, and I heard rumor, and I've actually I heard a little bit of rumor on that, and I kind of wanted to do some real digging before I put my stamp of agreement on it. But it has been rumored from on the Twitter streets, as it were, that the team that did Project Spark, you know, that whole dev their own version of PlayStation Dream, you know, where you can create your own game within a game. They're the ones that were instrumental in bringing this part of Halo Infinite to life. So the tools given are really full-fledged dev tool like for people to really take their imagination further on with that. I mean, I haven't seen the full details on it, but based on some of the leaked information we've seen and what you can actually do in it, it really does sound like it's heading in that direction. So it'll be quite interesting to see what people come up with. I do understand the whole idea of, hey, you know, wait for it, it'll be worth it. They really seem to have put their foot down, as it were, when making this thing shine. But yeah, it's becoming a little more and more increasingly late, in my humble opinion, because it seems that all those folks who are holding out hope for this thing to be able to turn it around, they're all getting a little frustrated that there's no real other content there. And I'm just hoping that by the time this thing is released to the masses as normally as it should be, that there's still an appetite for that game and people want to still play it. It sounds like more and more the community at large is just getting more frustrated with it. I mean, for my part, I played a little bit of the co-op insider program situation there that happened last week, and I thought it was absolutely brilliant. But again, even that, a lot of people, I heard a lot of spite coming out of folks talking about, oh, well, you know, wake me up. What did everyone say? Wake me up, and the full version is out. You know what I'm saying? and it comes with actual content. He said, you know, and you can't blame the man. You know, it's been a while, and it's been a long wait for us while we're waiting for them to get their stuff together. And I mean, by and large, when you see what they have to offer, it tends to be good. So, you know, I hope that same adage applies here, in that gamers have fickle memories, and as soon as you give us something new and shiny and it works, that we will, you know, forgive all past transgressions. And I hope that's the case here as well. But it looks promising, you know, absolutely looks promising.
Yeah, and, you know, looks like we lost PTK here. So guess what? The coup finally happened, chat. That's right. Indeed. It is now a new era. Blam is gone. We're not going to have any more BS polls or any of that nonsense. It is time for the Pong and Fuzzy Shop podcast. That's what's happening here, folks, right now. So welcome.
So I'm here for the takeover. This is great.
Yes,
all right.
You are. Yes, you are, Asante. It's amazing that you're here for this. You helped. I knew you did in the background. Nice job kicking him out of here. Listen. and shout out to the chat who is rocking out with us. Splendorfus, I see you out there, brother. Listen. Your wife's mad at you for listening to the show. I'm not going to get in the middle of that. I wish your kids happy birthday. I tell you thanks for dropping by, but I'm not getting in between you and your wife, okay? That's where I draw the line, all right? You're going to have to handle that yourself. Listen, so Fuzzy, you've probably seen a lot of the Forge stuff going around. Looking absolutely incredible. We have had this leak came out last year, like I'm saying almost prior to launch of Halo Infinite, there was some smoke out there that the Forge was going to be something incredible, that they were going to bring it to a whole nother level. And that's why it wasn't there at launch, because they are giving the community basically, they're giving them the dev tools to create what they want. We're just starting to see the tip of the iceberg. We saw the Stranger Things Upside Down that somebody created already. Look, my mind's blown by what I've seen so far, because I'm just imagining when the full Forge gets launched to millions of people, what we're going to see. What for you is standing out right now? What kind of ideas do you think the community is coming up with? And do you think, like Kay Asante said, this could be part of that answer for that lack of content that a lot of people feel that Halo Infinite's currently going through right now?
Oh yeah, like one of the things that I like is that, just like where you have in Horizon, where you can make your own races, build your own tracks and routes and things along those lines, having it where you can make your own modes or your own type of matches. Like I still think, even though people joked about it as far as having like, Master Chief swinging around like New York City as Spider-Man or something along those lines, like basically making a floor as lava type of board where you can't touch the ground or you instantly die type of deal, and just having a lot of like basically like I guess you could say swing points or something along those lines. That's just like the tip of the iceberg. I also like the idea that you had as far as like the supersized like either chief or supersized type not Covenant, but like the basically any of the enemy
brute.
AI, have one of the brutes basically be pretty much like a supersized monster. You have to take them down type of deal. So there's like endless possibilities, and I think we even touched on this last night on Xbox Ultimate and stuff, with some of the abilities that you're able to basically either apply abilities to certain, either weapons or vehicles or things along those lines. It's just endless. So even if there's like a constant stream of content that, after they get to the next season and they're able to step up to the 3-month season cadence, this will pretty much extend the lifespan and just the variety for any playlist that you want to create, having all these Forge features. I think the biggest thing now is just going to be how far can your mind stretch as far as like just random things that you would be able to create as far as that's concerned. I almost want to see if people even use the Forge system almost like the way and I know this is going to be like a weird left step, but like, how like with GTA you had the movie creator stuff, or almost like you're making machinima type things. I'm almost wondering if the community will be able to do things along those lines as well. But just the endless possibilities for
we forget
and whatnot. So.
We forget that the what you call it, red versus blue, that famous machinima creation started out of Halo.
Yes.
Oh, now
we can hear you, sir.
Right.
Yes, we can.
But listen, the chat voted while you were away. The coup is real. They voted me and Fuzzy in. You're gonna have to start at the bottom.
You
so
have
if
been
you want
voted
to
off
be a
the island,
guest,
sir.
if you want to be a guest on the show, that's okay, PTK. You can be one. We'll let you in now, okay? But you're gonna have to wait for an invite for later shows. All right?
Mutiny, man. This is ridiculous. Every week, every chance. All right, go ahead. Go ahead.
That red versus blue deal. That's
where this originates, right? That's where the original vision for this was, and it looks like they're finally, even though shout out to Microsoft in another line of, you waited till the iron was cold before striking. This should have been something that you guys should have been taking seriously long ago, because you guys basically created the genre with the red versus blue originally, right? That's when they should have taken this whole thing to its highest fruition. But hey, it's good they're doing it now. I'm looking forward to seeing all the real details. And everybody, it's been rumored for quite some time that when it does come out, it'll be worth that wait, and a lot has been put into it. So I'm looking forward to seeing some real, actual, real substantive changes, like in the Halo concept, that this allows them to do. Yeah, like you guys said, it'll keep this game fresh for many years to come. and then leave it to the evil geniuses to jump in there and create some interesting new modes that we can all enjoy. That also go to console. Like that's the big part, right?
Yeah.
You make it's available on PC. It should be able to be accessible on console as well, so everybody gets access to it. I'm looking forward to them bringing that fully around. Yeah, it'd be good.
I said they pretty much took the Minecraft route, right? Just
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
let the creative community carry, the game essentially. And once you guys said like this is going to extend Halo, the life of Halo for many years, and you're right. I did hear that, I think they've emphasized that it will be worth it as well. I've heard that from other people as well, but from, like I said, just the tidbits I've seen, it's looked amazing. And just and that's once again, I don't even know how polished those clips are. Once again, that might not be like a finished build. That might be some really early builds, some really early tools, some really early scripts, stuff like that. So, Pong, I don't know if that's something you've thought about too.
Yeah, it is. First of all, Sean Su, that raise I promised you, I don't know if PTK is going to honor that, so you might have to look up the DMs about that.
I'm ripping that contract up, baby.
Listen, no, this is a big deal. This is why I said from the beginning that had Forge been available from the start, there still would have been, of course, a lot of unhappy people and criticism and everything else. But had you had the community making content that kind of filled a lot of the gaps that we currently seen, and again, if you guys want to argue, the big Halo fans out there who say that 343 has not done anything wrong and everything's peachy keen, listen, the fact is that a lot of people were expecting a lot more out of this game. And again, that might happen no matter what, but if you had the community making a bunch of stuff, if 343 can finally have a search so that you can find this community created content a lot easier, if they bring both of those things out at the same time, once Forge does launch later this year, I believe that it is going to reinvigorate the community. It's going to reinvigorate Halo Infinite because right now, like you said just a minute ago, PTK, we're just seeing early stuff. And I think that they already said that they had been beta testing the Forge mode, parts of it to some of the great content creators out there. But at the end of the day, it's still not the full boat. And once this is implemented, and again, you throw it out to millions of people. Right now, they have a handful of people that are trying this out. You throw it out to millions of people, who knows what we're going to get? 3-Bit even, shout out to brother 3-Bit, who threw out a post the other day talking about how great this is going to be and how crazy it is. And I tweeted underneath him, I responded to him and I said, the way this is looking, the way that it's already showing off, we're going to wind up with Halo Fortnite. We're going to wind up with Halo Skyrim. We're going to wind up with Halo Elden Ring. Somebody's going to come up with all these different concepts because just the other day, somebody came up with the fact that you could attach fusion cells to a drop ship and have those fusion cells drop almost like a Call of Duty streak reward, right? In Call of Duty. So a kill streak reward. So if they can start implementing that, and supposedly you're going to be able to get down to the nuts and bolts of the game and kind of create your own scripting even at some points, if they're going to give that to this community, we are going to wind up with stuff that we never thought of. We will have a Halo Spider-Man. We will probably have a Halo God of War of some type at some point. Who knows what people are going to wind up doing with this? But I think this is amazing. I love this. I'm not a Forge guy because I'm not like that guy that wants to do that. But I know there's a ton of people who want to and who love to create and who already have ideas in their head. And that they're going to get this set of tools that suddenly seems to be much more expansive than we've ever seen before in creating a sandbox where you get to go wild in and get to do your own thing. That is going to be something special. And I think that again, even with the old Forge modes, we got game modes that became permanent staples of the Halo franchise, like Griffball. That was created through Forge back in the day, right?
Red
that became
blue.
A staple. Yeah, red. Yeah, exactly. That's what we're talking about. So you take that up 1,000 1,000 degrees with all the different options they're supposedly going to allow you to handle in this, basically giving you dev tools. Yeah, I can't imagine what we're going to see out of this. I can't wait. I think it's going to be very interesting. And it could get to the point of a Bethesda level type modding community where, again, Bethesda hires people direct from the modding community because the creation engine allows modders to go in and create whole new adventures from your Fallouts, from your, Elden Ring or Elder Scrolls. They allow you to get in there and do this stuff, and these people show up out of the blue that nobody knows about and make these ridiculously good mods, sometimes rivaling oh god, I can't speak tonight, rivaling what the actual makers of the game have made for people. And that could be a big part of 343's future and Halo's future. So can't wait to see when this drops and what people come up with.
A quick aside from me, real quick, before we continue. I did a quick some funny fingers, real quick. Skybox Software. They were actually they're different software house. Microsoft has partnered with them before. Age of Empires. They've actually created Forge mode for Halo 5. They're the ones, and they're also the creators of Project Spark. They're the ones creating Halo Infinite's Forge mode right
Makes
now.
sense.
So
makes
Awesome.
sense.
this is what's going on here. That's why it's so complicated, because it's the team that gave you dev tools in console form before that are doing it again this time. They're just doing it through Halo.
That's a nugget. I didn't know
I put the article to it in the private chat there, so you guys
nice. That's awesome. So once again, chat, if you didn't know that, it looks super promising, man. And just the idea that something like this can extend the game so much. And it's crazy because people talk about Halo like it's this one-shot deal. Halo really is the full course meal. I mean, if we're being honest, Asante, right? I mean, you getting a 3, 4, 5 course meal with Halo.
Absolutely.
Co-op,
absolutely,
full Forge mode with. I mean, if we're being honest, I mean, I don't really know a first party game that's giving you all of that, all in one bundle. Without any additional charges.
Exactly, and we give Halo and to that extent 343 some righteous smoke from time to time, because they stepped into the arena of free to play content driven games. Yeah. They stepped into that world, so the smoke they get is deserved. But by and large, like to your point, how many old school that are still around franchises of this ilk give you that full package, the complete package?
None.
From day one without an extra cost? You're absolutely right.
Factions is not here yet.
I suspect Factions never will be here, at least not in the form that was initially promised, right?
Well, no,
it will be in a different format at some point.
And, I mean, that seemed pretty side-handed for me to say, but I'm just saying, that's just an example. You know what I mean?
We appreciate the smoke, good sir. We appreciate the
smoke. Me trying to be diplomatic, trying to smooth it over, man. But but either way, once again, no, it just back to Halo, to the topic at hand. It looks, Asante, like I'm seeing some stuff every day on my timeline, and I'm trying not to constantly retweet the stuff, but every day on my timeline, I'm seeing just somebody's doing. And once again, we do not know how mature the tools are that they're using. We don't know how old that build is. Is it going to be the final build, or is that something that's 3, 4, 5, 6 months ago? Who knows? So the idea that this type of community is going to be able to carry this game through those periods of time, because we know they're working on some story. I believe it's been stated they're working on story DLC, right? I don't know if that's 100% confirmed. I'm pretty sure it is.
They're trying to integrate the tools in a kind of gamification way, so it's not just here are the tools, use them. It's more it's gonna be a jumping off point for some kind of story campaign to kind of walk you through it. It could be, and the information about it has been very kind of very vague. So it could be similar to what they did with multiplayer, where they bookended it with kind of like story, a little bit of story to jump you into it with Lieutenant Organo, like they did in the multiplayer. That could be something similar here, but I'm hoping that being as complicated and as in depth as the tools will be, there should be some kind of tutorial suite that kind of gets your feet wet, gets you going. All while playing a game and not making it too, computer CBT, if you know what I'm saying, in that realm. So I'm hoping that there's also that aspect to it. I way back in the day tested Project Spark. I was one of the first to play with it. I was sad that it ended up going away really quickly, because it started off slowly and it had pardon the pun, a spark. But had they matured that a bit, it would have gone very far because they really gave a lot. They really put a lot in your hands. They did something very unique that I hadn't seen up until that point being done, which is they brought the concept of AI and how to control AI down to the use case of somebody trying to make any inanimate object actually function. And you could literally, a kid could understand it, right? Even though AI is a very complicated thought when coming in games and how they function and this and that, they were able to translate all that very well. So, as as the Project Spark itself went downhill quickly, but hey, those learnings are the learnings, and I'm hoping to see that applied in this new way. And I suspect Microsoft is thinking that same way too. So why would you hire the team that did that for you guys back here again? So I honestly think that in the long run, we're going to see something special from that.
I hope so as well. And once again, I didn't know that. That's kind of cool, kind of a backstory as far as why we're seeing these type of tools, in the clips that I'm seeing on Twitter. Like, it looks amazing. Like, I know I did a lot with Halo Forge back in Halo 3. I forged quite a bit and tried to make different game modes. And just the fact that this is something that we're going to get our hands on fairly soon here is just super, super exciting, man, especially for those people that are really creative. So who knows what type of stuff we get out of this, but we're going to be taking questions now in chat. So go ahead and drop your questions in chat. I know we got some stuff lined up here. I got to check our DMs, but go ahead and drop your questions down in chat, man. We're going to go and take those right now. We'll get to everything. Maybe we missed some stuff during the week that you guys want us to talk about, or you just guys have some questions in general. Go ahead and let those fly, man. We'll get to them as many as we possibly can here with the last hour or so of the show that we have. So first, anything that we missed, boys, because I know we had a few things that happened this week, right? I don't know if you wanted to go over the Last of Us stuff. Pong, I don't know if you wanted to lead us.
What's
Oh
there
boy.
to say? Oh boy is right here. Listen. For anybody who's hiding under a rock, we had some leaks this week from The Last of Us that came out. Courtesy mostly from Special Nick over at Xbox Era. He had somebody send him a bunch of videos from supposedly a testing build of The Last of Us remake. And it was low quality video. So I said from the get-go in the DMs, I wanted to see some actual developer video before I fully judged it. But what you could see from that video is what appeared to be minimal to no gameplay change whatsoever, which was an assumption based upon comments from some of the devs working on the remake, and from good old Neil Druckmann himself on stage with Keighley just a month ago at the Summer Games Fest, talking about The Last of Us One Remake and what all went into it. And you can go see the clips out there. The clips has now been posted in different formats, some of them with cute music and stuff, making it look ridiculous. But he directly stated on stage that the gameplay and what they learned from The Last of Us 2 and Uncharted 4 was going to be brought into The Last of Us 1. Now, gameplay can have many different definitions, right? It can be. But when you're speaking to gamers, which he knew he was doing there on the stage with Keighley, everybody kind of knows at this point in 2022 what gamers think gameplay of. And so when you say something like that, and we've had examples of this in other remakes, since you're calling this a remake, we've had examples like Mass Effect 1 completely being brought up to date with current controls and gameplay from where it was back in the past. So people assumed that that's what he meant. Now it turns out that they've released an official video in response to this. I don't think this was planned. Now, some people have said, well, there's no way they put this together in a couple days. And you're right about that. And why they kept all of this kind of close to the chest, I will never understand what Sony's doing. If you had this video ready and you're talking about the remake and you've already got a release date and you've already announced the price point, why aren't you dropping this dev video talking about the differences between the two so everybody in the world could see it and judge for themselves? But whatever, they held it. Now they released it because they had to give a response because it was starting to get pretty ugly out here. And the video showed quite clearly that The gameplay that they're talking about, they're calling the AI changes, I'm assuming, and some of the motion with the characters running and walking and some of the scripting into that, along with the AI, is the gameplay they were talking about, along with accessibility features, along with obviously the DualSense controller haptics and that kind of stuff. That's what they're considering gameplay. So there's no dodge mechanic, there's no prone mechanic. They haven't redone any of the animations when it comes to shooting a gun or melee. We've seen that now. Here's what I will say. Value is always going to be subjective at the end of the day. Value is what you are willing to pay for something. What Kei Asante is willing to pay for a product and what I'm willing to pay for that same product may be two completely different numbers. And that's the way life is no matter what you're buying. One person will value a certain type of car over another person. So that's always going to be the case. If you think this is worth $70, and let's be real here, what they've done graphically to this game is a remake. What I've seen with my own two eyes now from the graphics and from the environment, from the character models, that is remake level stuff. They obviously went and rebuilt a lot of this game when it comes to the graphics. So I give them credit there. For me, this is more of a hybrid remake remaster because the gameplay has not been brought up to date. So, but if you consider this worth $70, more power to you. I'm not going to pocket watch you. Go spend your money. I spent $120 on Battlefield Ultimate Edition. Okay. So again, I bought something that a lot of people were saying they would never spend a dime on. Right. And I spent more than even the average person did. So again, go buy the game, go enjoy the game, have fun with it. The thing I don't like that was happening in the community this week was that people that wanted to defend this and want to say that this is worth $70 wanted everybody else to shut up and not voice any real criticisms of how this was handled and of the lack of changes to some of us that felt that they should have gone the extra mile and done the gameplay as well. And again, this is coming from a guy who considers The Last of Us 1 top 10 all time GOAT for myself. Okay, so this is a fan of The Last of Us. Huge fan. They should have gone the extra mile. If they're going to call it a remake and they're rebuilding all the graphics, they should have gone ahead and done the gameplay. But that did not happen. But again, shutting down conversation by saying, nope, it's worth $70. They showed it to you. Now you can all shut up. There should be no talk. There should be no criticism. That's where I have a problem with it. No, again, I don't agree with the people just going, hey, it's The Last of Us. This sucks. It's terrible. It's not worth $70. Okay, no, you got to have valid reasons why you don't believe it's $70 if you're going to have that discussion. But if somebody wants to bring points on a podcast or out there in Twitter land and wants to bring valid points like, hey, no, I think the gameplay should have been brought up to date as it stands right now. And again, this is my personal opinion. This is a $40 remake, remaster hybrid. This is $40 to me. If this was sitting at $40, I have zero problems with it because they did do a lot of work graphically. So this has been the discourse around The Last of Us this week. There's been a lot of back and forth. Of course, the console warriors are out in force on both sides. The clown show's out with the nonsense. That's going to happen. Again, all of that I push aside and kind of erase. But I just down to the nitty gritty with this. I don't agree with how Sony marketed it. I don't agree with the devs coming out and saying what they did, which led to a lot of assumptions. I think they should have done a lot better job. In fact, if they had this video ready, they should have released this video a long time ago so people could have already known that the gameplay, they could have come out when they started hearing this and said, listen, look, when we said gameplay, we actually meant AI kind of scripting. We meant kind of some of the movement in that. We're not adding a dodge. This is not going to be The Last of Us 2 mechanics are not coming into this game. This is still going to be The Last of Us 1 mechanics. So no dodge, no prone. Please, that's not what we meant by gameplay. They should have squashed it right away, but they didn't. So they let a lot of people on to think about this. If you're going to ask me if this is a cash grab, of course it is. This is business. They have placed it at $70 because they believe a good portion of their fan base is going to be willing to buy this game for a third time at full price for the graphical update. So that's business. But is it a cash grab? Of course. They got a show coming out based upon this game. They're going to get the hype going. I'll say this, the last thing I'll say, it's half a game. And anybody who denies the fact that this game should not have come with factions included, not the new factions, but they should have, the original game came with factions included. Okay, the least they could have done, since they promised that, and then they turned Factions 2 into a whole new standalone game that's taken a whole lot longer than what they told people it was going to take to come out. That's fine. You guys did that. That's cool. That's part of your new strategy. I get that. But at least give the fans who have been here supporting this game nonstop for, 2 generations now, have bought the game multiple times, give them the multiplayer in there, update it a little bit. You guys don't have to remake that part, but give it in there so that people can go back and start getting hyped for the multiplayer again for Factions 2 when it finally drops. Do that at least. So again, that's where my point is. Had they had the multiplayer in there, then we could start talking, right? Then we're getting a little bit closer. Maybe they're okay with charging $70. I still don't like the $70 price point, but it's here to stay. And Sony has made that clear that their first party title is going to cost $70. So for me, that's where it just doesn't feel right. They took out the multiplayer. They didn't update the gameplay. They're calling it a full remake. Yeah, the graphics, I definitely agree, have been built from the ground up. But the rest of the game is the same game. Not enough reason for me to spend $70. I would spend $40 on this, but not $70. Mass Effect Trilogy kind of set the bar. And yes, Mass Effect did not give us the multiplayer. I freely admit that they took that out. But they gave us 3 games that turned out absolutely gorgeous and did a lot of work on one and only charged $60 for 3 games. So there was a lot more value in Mass Effect than there is here with just The Last of Us coming back. So that's been the discourse this week, PTK. That's the rundown of what's happening and some personal thoughts. Yeah.
No, absolutely. That's, and once again, we'll get to the rest of the roundtable here. But once again, it's a slippery slope, Pong. It really is, because once again, value depends on a lot of times just your budget, right? Like what you can afford and how much do you actually want that particular product. So it's hard to really tell anybody what they value. But once again, seeing what was said on stage as opposed to what was delivered, there is a bit of discourse around that. So I don't know if that affects you at all, Asante. If we want to throw that over to you.
Yeah, so this conversation has been something myself and Everborn have been having for some time now. Our actual 3-man show turned into a 5-man show because we had this conversation. All of a sudden, shout out to BitCloud Gaming and Slow Mo Backslap both decided they had to jump in and get their takes as well. All points are valid on this topic, and I think Pong has been very poignant in his thoughts on how he feels about it. Honestly, the way I approach this conversation and the way I approach this situation is I more direct my questioning to our own community, because we can always have that value subjective conversation, and that is of course the baseline, right? It shouldn't even have to be mentioned because that is the baseline that we approach this conversation with from jump. So people putting that out there just to level set, I get it, because people go off the rails quickly, but that shouldn't even be a factor in the equation. Obviously, value is subjective to who and the budget and the situation, the whole thing. But as Pong has said so eloquently there, what confuses me the part that confuses me is those who choose to side who choose to stand on the side of corporations and defend this behavior that we can all agree is a little bit beyond the pale. We can all agree that, and those who can agree, I have not seen an actual earnest take just yet from anyone, and that's why I was glad to have BitCloud on. Many can say, oh well, you're Xbox first or whatever. That's fine. I wanted somebody who can also be considered a representative, an earnest representative from the PlayStation side, and he came on and said absolutely the same thing, right? And this is not a them versus us kind of a conversation. It shouldn't have to be a them versus us kind of conversation, because the reason why, I'll tell you personally, the reason why I like Xbox is not because they're altruism, but the fact that they are ready to listen to consumer feedback as soon as your voice is loud and respectful enough. That's why I like them as a company, because they know, hey, make no illusions about this. This is a separate you from your ducats type of conversation. And we can either do it in a earnest way that you yourself will feel comfortable about doing so, or we can kind of, do a bait and switch on you, and then you eventually catch us, and we feel bad about it, and you may not give us your dollars again, right? So the reason why I've always appreciated Microsoft's approach is as soon as you go a little too far afield and you let them know, they go, whoa, push back. We don't want to make these consumers unhappy and potentially lose them as customers. So let's rethink this situation. And in this specific instance, it seems that our own community members are getting in our way to make our voices heard, to potentially stop this from happening in the future. Right, we've had this conversation before. Those who debate about this is greatness, right? What's the dollar amount you want to place on greatness? Because the more you have this conversation, not only is PlayStation listening, but so is Xbox and all the other companies. So before long, you'll find yourself in a world where the baseline is $70, right? That pendulum has swung already pretty far, right? Xbox is still holding the line. We don't know how long it'll be before they also bow out. But eventually, I'm pretty sure we'll be in that $70 world where every game starts off that baseline. Then at that point, then I'll turn to you, person who is trying to justify this and go, okay, so now should PlayStation now be 80? Because they are greatness after all, right? When Netflix increases their prices, HBO Max has to follow suit. Have they not? How far, how slippery down this slope do we need to go before you look into your empty pocket and go, maybe I'm the idiot that's causing this to happen? There have not been any real justified means to show me as a consumer and me as a technologist that says, yes, this is justified. As Pong has said, from a graphical standpoint, 100%, they've done some work here, right? I don't want to add the accessibility features into this mix because, darn it, I expected those accessibility features to be there from jump. I get that timeline is a factor. I get that budgets and resources are a factor. When you do eventually add accessibility features, that should not equal a cost. That should just be something that comes across the board to every version of the game, and you pat yourself on the back from finally getting to a place where everyone can play your game.
And we've got examples of that too, KS.
Exactly, 100%.
Patches happening when the developer finally implement those kind of accessibility.
Most of those features that they're talking about, to me, that's like going, hey, look, we have this awesome TV for you, and now you can use the remote for an extra $5. Like, no, this is ridiculous, right? This is not how we roll. And as long as you, my brother, or you, my sister, stand in my way when I'm saying these corporations need to be held account, they will never hear the message. So yeah, I get it. It's subjective. It will continue to be subjective. If I turn on my camera, you'll see I have many a frivolous purchase. That is what I do. Technologist, technolust, call it what you will. It is what it is. But that does not negate the fact, those who are on the internet right now going, well, if you own a Tesla model or whatever, then you shouldn't have the right to speak. Come on now, right? The people who have money because they learn to keep their money and make good purchasing decisions. You don't stand in front of somebody and go, no, let the corporation separate you from as much money as possible because their product is worthy. All products are worthy, and all products should be gotten at the lowest price possible by you, the consumer. And I get that folks have this narrative built up in their heads that if somehow the prices are dropping or are stabilized, that means that it could potentially affect the quality of the game produced, but there have been no real evidence to show for that. And when games do get more expensive, what do? They just reach record profits. It doesn't mean Cyberpunk got any more complicated. It still wasn't playable on last gen and barely was on current gen for a while, right? The money they get out of it doesn't automatically translate to a better or bigger world immediately, right? So and people like Naughty Dog and the rest of them, they are geniuses that will create no matter what budget you give them. So that's a very bad narrative to spin. And I feel like it is a pervasive narrative that works in favor of the corporation and not in favor of us. So I'm hoping that, as we go through this back and forth, that these conversations are deaded basically, right? And we can all hold hand in hand and say, hey guys, this is not it, right? Whether we can afford it or not, it's not the point. Show us reason for an upgrade, or don't give us that, or don't offer us that $70 game at all, because none of us will take it. And just a quick aside before I drop the mic here, if you think that doesn't work, look on the PC side. They'll say whatever they want to you guys, but PC players, they get the discount because they know Ain't no PC gamer having none of that. If you want to do it, sure, go ahead. We'll see how many copies your game will sell. Doesn't mean they won't
Pirate's
play it.
life.
You know, Jack Sparrow all over the place, you know, and they know this. So, you know, if they can do that and understand that, oh yeah, PC gamers aren't one to be had, then so can console gamers. They can do the same thing. And it doesn't have to be, you don't have to hold piracy against them to do it. You just have to speak in a unified voice, you know, and that's what we're hoping we can all get to.
Well, once again, I don't know if you want to follow that up, Fuzz. You want to dive in on this as well before we move on to the next few questions? We got a few in chat.
Yeah,
so.
no, Pong and Kayasante have definitely come up with some very valid points and have, you know, expressed this eloquently. All I'm going to say is there's a right way and there's a wrong way as far as when doing remasters or reworks or however reboots or however you want to call them. Like, if perfect example, like Pong brought up, you know, the Mass Effect trilogy. That was a good way of doing it. Yes, they took away multiplayer. That's fine, but they've given you all the DLC that they offered, and they updated the mechanics. The wrong way to do it, we've seen the perfect example recently, and that was Rockstar. Rockstar made the, you know, Grand Theft Auto trilogy, and it pretty much people saw rather quickly what it was. It was basically a cash grab. And now the drawback is because instead of Rockstar, well, I don't blame Rockstar as much as I do blame Take-Two, their publisher, or the actual parent company. But because of the, you know, lackluster sales and the pushback, we are not going to see a Red Dead update. But then again, would they have gone an extra mile and actually done a reworking of the mechanics for Red Dead 1? Probably not. They would have probably done the same thing, just put a nice coating on it, you know, give you 60 frames for Red Dead 2 and happy how you doing. And we would have probably complained about the first half, and the second half we would enjoy, but still it's these companies now that are trying to find every way, like Kay Santi said, for us with our dollars in our pocket. And the best way for us to speak about it or speak against it is to either not buy or at least in, you know, earnest protest, respectful protest, let them know that this isn't what we're expecting when we're paying $70. Like, for me, this whole deal would have been fine if it was a $40 game, like Pong said, or if they had bundled, you know, The Last of Us 2 with it. Keep Last of Us 2 the way it is. Maybe, you know, up-res a few things, add the, you know, although I think they've already have the DualSense stuff working on that. But bundle both The Last of Us 1 and 2 for $70. I'm a customer at that point. I haven't bought any of the Last of Us editions, but I'm not going to buy a third remake or a remaster, I should say, for just a graphical update when the platform of my preference gives those updates, those visual or graphical updates for free. I already have issue with them doing the whole controller $10 upgrade fee. I bought the damn controller with the console. Don't charge me to use the controller I bought with the console. That's ridiculousness. But, you know, I'm just at this point. I've. It's not that I'm not going to buy Sony games. Hey, I'm one of those knuckleheads that bought the $85 edition of GT7 without knowing about the microtransactions. Sure, I didn't buy any of them, but it still bothers me that this is a full price game with, you know, devious means of making it more grindy, so it pushes the consumer towards that. And if anybody that's going to play the game not call that out because, oh, well, I'm enjoying the game. Yeah, I'm enjoying the game as well, but I don't want this same practice in future games. If we don't say stuff, they're always going to continue to push the envelope. I mean, even when we say stuff, they're going to continue to push the envelope. Like, I'm a huge fan of Insurgency Sandstorm, and they keep on trying to ease in this Fortnite Call of Duty crap into a tactical shooter. If you don't say anything, they keep on pushing the envelope. And luckily, the community stands, you know, together. At least PC, they're more leaning towards the mods, which isn't going to happen on a console anytime soon. But it's one of those things where if we're going to just stand here silently and be like, oh, this is greatness, let's accept it, then yeah, when is the threshold become too much? When is it? Oh, when it's $80 a game, $100 a game, the basic game with microtransactions coming in at $120 hot. Yeah, that hell no. Sorry. I'm just basically tired of the nonsense arguments of, well, you're paying for greatness. And yes, I understand, value is subjective. Like I said, I'm the knucklehead that bought the $85 edition of GT7. So I understand, the value is subjective. It's a racing game. I love racing games. I'm willing to buy it. And hey, the $85 edition came with some pre-order bonuses and some extra cars. Great. That has value to me. The next person may not see that value. I also bought the premium upgrade edition thing for Forza Horizon 5. I would like the 4-day early access. I like having the car pass and stuff. But to me, that value was worth it. And I can understand for those that don't see it as worth it. But then don't be, disingenuous with why are you paying for a $20 DLC that they had from a previous game? Well, first of all, it's not like the one from the previous game. And two, the value of it, if you had bought the upgrade for like the 40 or $50 it was way back when, you would have so much more plus both expansions. So this just being the first expansion for Horizon 5, hey, you can either pay the 20 or you can wait. I suggest if this isn't something that's screaming out to you, hey, this is what I want right now, go ahead and wait. Give it a couple of months. They'll reduce the price, especially with the holidays not too far down the road. You'll probably be able to get both expansions for like the $20 that they're charging for it now. But once again, at least be vocal when something is not right or not to your liking. I mean, people do it all the time if they get the wrong food order or whatnot. So I don't see what the difference is. And then, sure, if you want to go after people that have an expensive car, but they're nitpicking on a price thing here and there. If you have ever known a wealthy person, they are frugal. Well, I would say a majority, because my belief is your rich people, they're not frugal, but they won't be rich for long. Wealthy people, it's generational rich or wealth, I guess you could say. That's where you look at every dollar you spend. You want the most for your dollar. You might not even be buying a new BMW. Why buy the new BMW when the depreciation's going out the window the minute you drive it off the lot? Why not let some other sucker do that for you? Still get the extended warranty on it when they return it from lease or whatever the case may be, and enjoy the premium experience without paying the premium price. But I don't think anybody's ready for that conversation when it comes to gaming. They just see the greatness and whatnot. Oh, they won these awards, but there are plenty of other games winning awards without raking you over the coals with an extra $10 next gen tax. And sure, you ain't seeing PC people paying that, because why are they going to pay for this extra premium experience when they have the premium hardware? When you get into PC, you're paying for the hardware. That's the premium experience, and everything else pretty much scales up to that. I don't know. I look at it as buy the game if you want, but if people have an issue with it, just mute them. If it bothers you that much, if you feel a certain way because people don't feel that they should have to pay $70 for a game, don't participate in the conversation. Just move along. If it doesn't affect you, it doesn't affect you. It's not like all of a sudden they're going to take that $70 game out of your hand. If you want to pay $70 for it, be my guest. But when others choose not to, don't be up there. I don't know. I've said enough. I'm rambling at this point, so we can move on to the chat questions and stuff.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and grab a few questions. Appreciate you wrapping that up for us. We're going to grab a few questions out of the chat. Appreciate you guys for throwing them in there. Once again, hit the like button if you have not already. Hopefully, you guys are enjoying the show. So we're going to grab this one from Splendiferous. Shout out to Splendiferous in the chat. He said, question, does it seem like Xbox is always playing with a losing hand, even though there is so much amazing content in Game Pass? Now, I'm pretty sure we'll all touch on that. I guess we'll start with you, Asante. That is kind of a it's tough to say with the Xbox currently, because I don't think that's the type of energy, especially since this generation started, that they've been exuding. They've been extremely confident. That's the exact opposite of how the moves and decisions that they made have been extremely confident, with a lot of pride. Even with the delays and things like that, they kind of they were supportive of that. They kind of stood their ground with the delay and didn't really fold under that pressure as well. So I would say everything they've been doing is been extreme confidence. I feel like between the start of this generation, this is probably the most confidence we've ever seen Xbox.
I agree with your take 100%. And shout out to Splendiferous, a good member of the chat. good member of the community. I disagree with that take because it seems like that may be a valid take if you're approaching it from a very hardcore gamer
Yeah,
perspective,
like
and that's
specific
a very
argument.
yeah, and that is righteous smoke to be delivered. I will not say that you're wrong on that because to a specific audience, they have not delivered what they've been promising they would deliver, and that is the hardcore gamer have to have AAA budget audience. I get that, right? But by and large, if you look at what they've been offering this generation so far, specifically with Game Pass included and all of that, there have been a lot of gems available. Even this week alone, two of the games that I'm like really enjoying are Xbox Game Pass games. Hot Wheels expansion being one, and As Dusk Falls being another. I did not know I would really want that. I didn't go in going, oh yeah, As Dusk Falls is going to be amazing, but do not sleep on that narrative. That game is like better than it has any right to be. Right? They're just what I see that Microsoft is doing right now, which is a very interesting method to take and a shrewd way of thinking about it. They have realized that the gaming environment is beyond just the hardcore base. Yes, it's true. The hardcore speak the loudest. Yes, it's true. It's good to appease them, but sometimes, most of the time, it's good to look beyond them. So even though they may not necessarily be happy with you, you'll still have dads going, yo, that Paw Patrol and Peppa Pig drop was amazing. And that was me, right? I'm both the hardcore and I'm also the dad that sees the value of having those games in there and giving them room to breathe. You know what I'm saying? And at that moment, no hardcore gamer stood by me or stood with me, but I really see that. I see that Microsoft has seen that it's in their best interest to appease to a wider audience. And that's what they're doing now, and they know that eventually the hardcore gamer will be appeased because before too long, those really high AAA budget games will be released, and then they'll be busy playing their game for a while, right? So I honestly do see that as the gen is maturing, they're starting to speak to different segments of the market that they used to not be. It used to be everything used to be spoken to everybody, but through a hardcore lens. And now sometimes they don't even speak to us anymore. Sometimes they just look beyond us and speak to the parents in the room, speak to the kids in the room, speak to the casuals in the room. And each of those segments seem to appreciate that conversation. So it's just us hardcore feeling a little bit neglected these days. That may be what's going on here.
And that actually fuels a lot of the arguments and the reason why people are so volatile. Because Xbox, they spread the wealth for sure. That's one thing I give them credit for, even at their shows, Asante, as far as the variety of like software that they show, right? Like
absolutely
from just different things and stuff that you wouldn't normally see. And I think that's one of the things that have kind of pushed this huge boost as far as the platform and a boost in confidence and the renewed vigor around the IPs is them embracing variety and ID at Xbox and all these other ideas and Game Pass and kind of being this hub for all smaller developers, and you still get your AAAs in there too. But I think all of that super like that all works together in conjunction and kind of gives them the fuel that they started this generation with. So I don't know if Pong, Fudge, you guys want to dive in on that as well.
Yeah, I mean, I get what Splendiferous is saying, and if the whole world was this community, first of all, God help us all if that was the case, we'd be in a world of trouble. I mean, we already are in a lot of ways, but my God, if this community ran the world, holy shit. Listen, I could see how the perception could come off that way, but I think that to Sante's point, I really think that Microsoft and Xbox are playing a completely different game. They've created their own field now, so I don't think they're playing with a losing hand. In fact, I think that they're playing with a winning hand by default because they are on a whole separate field. I think they've done a great job in leading the way and doing a whole lot of trailblazing into a whole new type of generation, a whole new type of ecosystem, thinking way outside the box to a whole bigger kind of realm where they legitimately confidently talk about 2 billion, 3 billion gamers. Whereas before it was always locked into the console sales and it was always locked into the capped market, that they finally said enough's enough. That's not what we're doing here. We're going big and we're going all the way with this. And we're going to create accessibility across the board for wherever you're at, no matter where you're gaming at. We want you to have access to your content through our ecosystem. And I think they're really driving that home with Game Pass, with xCloud, with all this different initiatives that they've taken that nobody else in the industry has taken. And I think that's where they now have the winning hand. Now you see Sony trying to play catch up in so many different areas. Sure, we could still have the argument that Sony is mind share leader as of this moment worldwide, but we've seen that shift in so many different ways now. So I think Xbox is playing with the winning hand. I think they're out in front here. I think everybody else is going to be trying to come over to play ball with them, whereas everybody else was like, "Oh, we're gonna kick Xbox off this field, and they're never gonna come play with us again." And now all of a sudden, Xbox is over here playing with some new toys on this different field, playing a whole different game, and now it's Sony going, "Well, can we come play? Can we come over there and share? Because we like your stadium. Your stadium holds 2 billion, 3 billion people. Ours only holds about 100 million, 120 million people, 150 million." So I think that's where Xbox currently is at. But again, perception, I could see it if you just sit in this community, right? Because again, that skews everything when you listen to Clown Show all day long, right? So I think that vocal minority over here kind of creates that whole different view. But I think overall, I think Xbox is on the winning path, and I think that they're on the right one. They've seen the future much more clear in their crystal ball than a lot of the other companies have. And these other companies are now saying, "Hey, please, we're going to follow you. We're going to do this now." And that's been Xbox for a lot of years. Sometimes they've been way too far ahead of the curve and it hasn't worked out. This time, I think they're hitting it right at the right spot at the right time. And I think that's going to translate. And I think they're going to hit some of those goals that they've set out for themselves this time around.
I agree 110%. And once again, like I said, I love the spreading of the wealth. You know what I mean? Just the way they've approached the different level of IPs and the things that they've done with different types of games. And I think once again, I think they've been the most profitable. They've seemed to be the most open. Look at all when we go down the list, Asante, when we really start to think about it, they have the full backing of Microsoft 100%. 110%, I would say. Satya all the way down. Everybody's all the way in on the entire brand. They're at the table. They're an essential service now. Right? These are the same guys, Asante, mind you, were busting in meetings trying to get people to listen to them.
Exactly. And this is what we wanted, right? We as fans of the Xbox brand, we as fans of gamers and gaming in general, there have been too many conversations where people go, "Oh, well, the Switch is coming with this game, that game. It's amazing. Oh, and the PlayStation's coming with this game, that game. Gaming is going to be good this year." And then they forget about Xbox because it's always been a foregone conclusion that these guys don't know how to close. So me as a gamer who enjoys all these different platforms, I've always want to see them really reach for their full potential, and it looks like that's where they're definitely headed right now. And as Pong so eloquently put it, they stopped listening to the Clown Show. They stopped focusing so heavily on the balls and strikes in the bubble of the hardcore gamer. And when they broke that mold, that's where you get your, "Oh, we're only going to show you games for the next 12 months." And initially there'll be some consternation and a bit of pearl clutching, but in the long run, they know that they're speaking to just the hardcore and beyond with that move, because then everyone can get served, right? And every time they play that hardcore game, what happens? They lose because they don't know how to play it as well as some other platforms do, right? Those other platforms have been speaking to their hardcore base for a long time. They know how to strike that balance better. So it looks like Xbox has realized that, hey, if we're going to succeed here, we need to lean on what makes us good. We have near infinite resources. We can put your games wherever you want them to be. We can be open, transparent with you about it, and we can make sure that it's just so damn convenient to use our services. Why would you not bother doing so? And it's so far it's working, right? We may not have AAA immediate bangers for you every month, but we'll bombard you with so many unique experiences that at some point your buddy will tell you, "Have you tried this Game Pass thing?" Until as dusk falls, is better than you think it is, and it's working. It's definitely working,
Absolutely. And they put themselves in that position, and it started with the acquisitions and, starting to build that first party and getting those studios and then other smaller things along the way, other, very strategic partnerships. Obviously we just talked about the Discord thing, right? Little things like that along the way have helped kind of build the brand up to where it needs to be. And so it's always a conglomerate, right? It's the little steps along the way. So want to make sure we get to Fuzz on this one too before we go ahead and grab another question out of the chat. Once again, chat, let us know. Drop the questions in the chat, man. Appreciate you. Go ahead, Fuzz.
No, I was going to say they're better at messaging now. They've learned from the past mistakes that they've made as far as getting too far ahead of the curve and trying to onboard people. Now they're better with their timing. They're better with their messaging and better to bringing that vision to the consumer or the end user. And the hardcore is part of that, but they're not the main focus. And they, to be honest, they never have been. But we've been coddled, I guess, far too long by their approach on things with like the back and pat and a lot of things that we've kind of asked for. But in the grand scheme of things, we're another number, and the masses, or I guess you could say the casuals, are the bigger number. So it may seem like a losing hand from our standpoint because we're only looking at the short-sightedness of the hand that we're playing at this current moment, but they're looking at the whole table, or not even the whole table. They're looking at the whole casino and the whole game as it is played, and they have all the cameras and all the security and all the wherewithal as far as for each table. So it's come to a point now where Microsoft, like Pong and Kay Asante have said, they're not going to focus on the hardcore as much. They're not going to focus on that particular bubble as far as for their end goal. Right now, they're focused on 2 billion gamers. They are pretty good at finding different ways of reaching people. They've done that in many other different fields as far as software and hardware is concerned. So it's just a matter now of them getting into their cadence. And let's not forget, yes, and I know people are probably tired of the pandemic talk and all that, but it once we're completely clear of that, or at least back to some semblance of normal, I think that's when everything that they've already kind of worked to put in place will start showing showing the fruits of their labor type of deal. But seems like a losing hand from this standpoint, but I don't know how many other people are talking to those that aren't quote unquote, real gamers or the, the hardcore. Cause like the biggest thing now, Game Pass outside of our Twitter bubble is probably the biggest selling factor amongst parents. Like all the demographics that, these focus groups focus on. Yeah, they're the ones that are kind of leading the direction or having them, be the focal point now for Microsoft. And it's actually working because they're neck and neck on sales as opposed to being beat 2-1 this year or this generation in the US, and they're catching up in Europe and in other areas that they've always been pretty much been mopped by PlayStation. So it's a long game and they're ready for it, and I don't think the rest of their competition or the ones that we see as their competition are there yet. So we'll see.
No, great point. Great point. And shout out to chat, man. We got some questions dropping in there. Appreciate you guys. Hit the like button. Once again, if you guys are enjoying the podcast, go ahead and do me a favor. And our guest of the honor, man, go ahead and check him out as well, too. All his information's down in the description. We're going to go ahead and take a few more questions before we go ahead and wrap this show up. So these questions actually kind of piggyback off what we've kind of been talking about already anyway. So I guess we'll just kind of elaborate unless we come up with something else. So shout out to my boy Bacon Life, man, always here hanging out with his brother. He said, I get what you guys are saying about the hardcore not mattering as much, but don't you think this whole table approach is going to alienate its hardcore fan base and push them to other places? So anybody want to take that?
No, we have the shortest term memories in history. Listen,
Exactly.
As soon as the games hit, it won't matter. This will all be forgotten as soon as the game starts hitting, because they do have hardcore, quote unquote, I hate that term, but whatever, hardcore gamers, enthusiasts, whatever you want to say, they do have those games in development. So it's not like they're ignoring the hardcore. We're still, I mean, again, they've invested more money into gaming than any other company on earth. Okay. So this company is making those games that still appeal to much of the hardcore fan base. Now, is every game going to be that game? No, of course not. They're diversifying as at the same time as still developing those core titles. So as soon as those games start hitting, as soon as we start getting those quote unquote hardcore fan approved type games that everybody's looking for, the AAA home runs, bangers, whatever you want to call them, that will all be wash. And again, they're going to eventually, there's no way in hell anybody's going to tell me anything different. Again, it's spilt milk. Again, 2022 is unacceptable from a first party content standpoint. There is no question about that. I will never defend it. But as soon as they start hitting these marks, as soon as these games start dropping on a consistent basis, and they will, because there's no way they have this many studios, even without Activision Blizzard, and we don't eventually start getting consistent drops. Look, once that starts happening, everybody is going to be happy because they're going to have the diversity. There's going to be games for everybody, but the hardcore is going to be just fine, and they are going to come flocking because the value that's on this ecosystem is undeniable. And if there's one thing that speaks to people more than anything else, is their wallet at the end of the day. The clown show can claim all they want. They're paying for quality. But let me tell you, they all look at their wallet and they think about it every time that they go ahead and pull out that card and then dropping $76 with tax, $78 with tax per game. And they know that they could potentially be getting that same game over on the other side for $15 a month or $10 a month through a subscription service. Now they're all cheering their own subscription service, secretly hoping that Sony starts doing day and date drops for that exact reason, even though they try to tell us that's definitely not the case and it's hurting the industry. Bullshit. Okay, I call that all day long. Your wallet speaks to you more than anything else. But no, we have the shortest term memories ever, and it's gonna all be gonna be gone. It's gonna be down the river by the time these games start dropping and we start getting this avalanche of content coming. That's my personal.
I agree. It always feels worse, right? When we're kind of, because we're kind of really that minority. We're really in the community. We're really close to a lot of the information, right? We talk to people every day. We on these podcasts 10 times a week. You know what I mean? So we're really close. We feel it a lot more, but in reality, like the ripple doesn't go that far. You know what I mean? There's a lot of stuff that they're working on, and things like this happen. So I guess I know Asante, you wanted to say something and follow that up.
Oh no, I think Pong Soul has put it where it needs to be placed, man. That it is short term. It's short-sighted seeing when you see this community. And we can feel the way we want to feel about it, but at the end of the day, as soon as you see Starfield, you'll be busy. And we won't hear your voice in the community for a while because you'll be busy playing them games, right? So they know that, we know that. We're just kind of impatient and waiting and want to complain sometimes,
Awesome. No, I 100% agree with that too. So we'll take a couple other questions in chat as well, man. Shout out to Caitlin coming through. Appreciate you. Fifth Horseman as well coming through, hanging out in chat, man. Appreciate you guys always hanging out once again. I saw Lore Master Jasper in here. Once again, Bacon, Gabe, shout out to you. I saw General Spartan, everybody hanging out with us, watching us live, man. Hit the like button. So I guess we'll take another couple questions here. So let's see what we got, Chad. If you have anything, go ahead and drop it right now in there. If not, I think I missed a couple things. Let me see here. Let me go back a little bit. I know there was a couple. I think a lot of them were just piggybacking off of what we talked about already. Let's see. Yeah, let's see. No, that was overpriced. Fair price, $70. All right. Let's see here. I don't know. Do we got anything in the DM, Pong, that we might have missed today so we can wrap this show up? Let's see.
Don't know. It's a couple little things. Now that we have Asante here, actually, I want his take on this.
Okay.
And it's a little one. It went under the radar for a lot of people, but I'm sure Asante picked up on it. I'm sure you picked up on it, PTK. I think it was in our DMs, and Fuzzy as well. And we talked about this last night on Xbox Ultimate a little bit too, but I do want to get Kay Asante's opinion on this. That news that Sony is beefing up their legal team.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
I knew you were gonna bring that up.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Because I love speculation town. Right?
That's right. Let's go.
look. They got Bungie to go through with their current legal team. No question. They got looked at, but it went through relatively quick. No big deal. So the fact that they're going out and looking for some higher power talent when it comes to the legal,
they're beefing up the ranks.
Yeah, they are. Acquisition season seems to be in full swing and still open for Sony as well. What do you think, brother? What do you think? Now, I've brought up the fact because, of course, we've been talking Ubisoft as well this week.
Mhm.
With them
I heard
delaying
your
things.
take. I heard your
Yeah.
take that the potential that they might want to scoop up Ubi.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, that would be something else, and
Yes.
it would be a shrewd move on their part, 100%. I can see it happening, although the pricing would be astronomical because they themselves, Sony themselves, are what on a good day $110, something like that.
Yeah, correct.
So that may not be so easily swallowed. Ubisoft might not be, but no, I do I see where you're going with it, and I kind of agree with your take on that. Right? They got off the ground with Haven, which had no IPs, really had no stake in the gaming industry just yet. So that was just basically a press release, and that was that. And then of course you had Bungie, which by and large, when you're buying a company and the company you're acquiring is getting more out of the deal than you are, I don't think regulatory bodies are going to be very, very upset about that, right? You know, the big focus about ABK was what's it going to be like for the workers. The Bungie workers are like, please buy me today. How much money am I getting out of this deal? They were good, right? They're happy.
Yeah.
But to your point, it looks like now they're like, okay, so they looked at us. You know, it didn't get too far, but they looked at us. Moving forward, when they want to make some other purchases, yeah, they're going to need some heavy hitters. Right. Yeah. And Microsoft has them in spades, literally on board, because that's what they do. Their acquisition division is always out, always looking. They have the resources to keep them on retainer. This Brad Smith has been part of Microsoft for what, 32 years. He has it. And by and large, he's a heavy hitter on the team. Right. Clearly, this dictates that Sony didn't have heavy hitters in the stable as Microsoft does. And they suspect that they might need some. So it'll be interesting to see when they feel that they'll need to bring the heavy hitters out, because clearly they were able to get under the radar this time. I think possibly they think that the next one might be a bit of a fight.
And that indicates, as Bloomberg was talking about to me, that they do expect to make a bigger purchase than what they've so far done. Like you were just saying, I mean, Bungie being the biggest one, they are expecting to make a big move. And my Ubisoft point, yes, it would be on the high end for Sony, but I still think even overpaying, because Ubisoft is a value proposition right now, and yes, you would have to overpay for them, just like Microsoft had to overpay for Activision Blizzard according to the stocks. They still got value at the end of the day, but they had to overpay. I still think that Ubisoft is in the ballpark for the top end of what Sony could pull off. And my point being that Ubisoft would bring the IP, and it would be that move that Sony could make. They can't counter one for one with Xbox, but being that Ubisoft comes with so much quality IP, it would be a strategically fantastic move on their part.
So to your point, and I remember the Ubisoft market cap from some months ago, and maybe that's where I was kind of like looking interestingly. Yeah. How much did they pay for Bungie?
It was Bungie like $4.5 billion, I think.
$4.5 billion, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
As of July 2022, the market cap for Ubisoft, $5.16 billion. Oh man, it is in the bag, bro. You are absolutely right. All they need to do, they could even double the price, and they'd have a sweet deal there. And of course, the sleeping giant is busy with other consumptions, so there's no response there. That is an interesting move. Yeah, you really have a point there, sir. Indeed, that's an interesting move.
Yeah. Who knows? Once again, down the line, you never know. So we'll keep an eye on this, obviously. And we got some other theories too. Fuzz got some pretty interesting ones regarding what like PlayStation and some other large companies with large bags.
Yeah,
maybe in collaboration as well too, Asante. So we got to check those out. But let me get to a couple questions here. I know people.
I'm still thinking Amazon buys them up in 2 years, but as of Activision Blizzard's recent move, I think they pick up Ubisoft. I've been sitting on this for a while, and I've been looking at my shares of Activision. There's something else going on, so I would not be surprised if they pick up Ubisoft before they get acquired.
What? Are you really pulling this out right? A little tea leaves here?
Yeah.
Wait, so you're saying
live reading?
Wait, you're saying that while this acquisition is going on, and yes, they still make business moves as
they recently acquired another studio, a small studio. So
a small studio, but Ubisoft, really? What
the way
kind
their
of wrench
the
would
way
that
their
throw
shares
into
are
the
dropping,
acquisition?
and the fact that they could probably they're as it stands right now, it's about a $16 a share turn that Microsoft will pick them up. But if they could pick up Ubisoft after they've dropped pretty much almost half their value over the past couple of years, and I know no one wants to talk about Kotick and his golden parachute, but for a lot of the other shareholders and some of them that weren't particularly happy with the $95, they wanted more of a 105, 108 range.
Mhm.
This would give them that leeway, so they would be able to walk out extra golden.
And you don't think regulatory bodies would then look at Microsoft and go, "Come on, guys, come on, guys."
30,000
I don't know,
employees influx into Microsoft.
Yeah,
That would be insanely amazing. Oh
Yeah, I
man,
don't know,
what a
man.
take!
Especially considering the unions now of back
Oh.
Microsoft takeover. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think this.
Oh.
I won't guarantee it, but I think if we don't hear something by the end of August as far as a main suitor for Ubisoft by the end of August, then I have no idea where they go.
You heard it here first. If this happens, oh boy,
Reading the tea, he turned into Miss Cleo live on the air.
Hey, I would give him the virtual pound at any opportunity if that happens, because that is a take I have not heard before. That is a very interesting take. Interesting. All right.
We'd be having podcasts and spaces for the next 6 months.
Holy crap.
Ridiculous. I mean, either go ahead.
No, but Ubisoft is definitely getting acquired soon. It's just I don't want Sony to do it, but they are the most likely. But the only other most likely is somebody like Ubisoft. The EA blending would be another good one, but I think EA, some of their upper management, even though they say they don't necessarily want to be fully acquired, even though they've shopped around, I think they want out. I think some of the people see the writing on the wall, and I'm pretty sure there's some inside fires that Vince Zampella is putting out, but it's definitely going to probably start spilling out as far as EA issues internally. But
what about Take-Two though, Fuzzy? Take-Two could come in.
Take-Two, because of the trilogy thing, I think they're kind of like holding quiet for a minute, and I think they want to see I think they said they have 60 games over the next 2 years. They got like another 3 or 4 that are coming out before the end of this year. I'm not sure how what do you call them, Suns thing, the Midnight Suns is going to turn out for them. But Take-Two is kind of in a holding pattern. I think they won't be I don't think they'll be acquired. I don't think they'll have to do a merger. If they had more capital, they would probably acquire EA, but I think Take-Two is going to be in a holding pattern until someone that can cough up the $100 billion range, even though that's not what they're technically worth. But I think that's what they want. But I don't think anybody is going to want to pay that anytime soon.
Yeah, right now they're what, $21 billion market cap.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so that would put them at best in the 35 range, but I think they think they're worth more than what they can deliver. And I've been saying, the whole Rockstar thing, that they've kind of led them on that path of not creating stuff in recent years. I think that's kind of, waned that value a good bit. So Take-Two is holding pattern, EA holding pattern, but they want out. And Ubisoft, I think it's inevitable that they get acquired, but I'm silently rooting for Activision Blizzard to come in, but I think Sony pretty much has a deal, but they're going to have to do some shares and some borrowing to get that all done.
Okay. All right. Well, once again, man, we got the tea leaves read on live on air. So once again, you heard it first here, like Asante said. So bookmark the podcast today, right? If any of this comes true, bookmark this show so you guys can come back and listen to it. So I think we're actually gonna go ahead and wrap the show up on that note, then, people. But appreciate you guys watching live. You guys have been amazing. Chat has been amazing. A lot of you guys coming in and out. Appreciate you guys. We're gonna get to the outros here. First and foremost, I always like to thank our guest, Mr. K. Asante, obviously coming in a little hot today. No worries, brother. We appreciate the fact that you were here hanging out with us. Always love to get your takes and super knowledgeable. You're always welcome on the show, brother. Anytime, you already know. Anytime, bro, reach out to me if you need anything. But thank you for coming on, hanging out with us, dropping that knowledge, giving us that good gaming talk, brother. But let everybody know where they can find you. Shout out to Everborn as well, too. I don't know if y'all heard me earlier. I gotta make sure we give Mr. Sega himself a shout out. But thank you, man, hanging out with us.
Oh no, I appreciate you guys. Yeah, thank you. And I will say it publicly. I sincerely apologize for being a little late.
It's all good.
Family emergencies, small little family emergencies. I have a little monster, and every once in a while we need to make sure he didn't kill himself. That's neither here nor there. Let's move forward. But yes, I appreciate y'all having me on the show. This is always a great time. As y'all know, if I'm not on this side of the mic, I'm usually in the chat, being slanderous as I tend to be. I appreciate the conversation. I love that you guys always fill the Saturday spot with such good, interesting conversation with the brothers that are here. Of course, Pong Soul and Fuzzy Belvedere and yourself, PTK. Always great conversations whenever you guys get together. So I count myself lucky to be among you gentlemen. You can find me, TKO Asante, Twitter, Xbox, PlayStation, anywhere you want to find me and spark up a gaming conversation. I am the host of the Gaming Circle podcast. This today's episode, I should say, was about the aforementioned conversation relating to value, and as I said, we had a bunch of folks just had to get their bars off and jumped into our show. We were going for a strong 2 hours, ended up being 3. But yeah, we have a lot of fun on the show. If you haven't checked it out already, I appreciate you checking it out. As PTK says, it will be in the show notes. Appreciate all the awesome people that and I do see a bunch of folks in your chat that drop by ours and show us some love and appreciation. We of course always appreciate that. So thank you guys again. Whenever you need me, you know where to find me. And until then, you'll count me among your community members in the chat. So thank you guys so much.
Appreciate you. Once again, Asante, please do me a favor. If you're a fan, of the podcast, go check everything that man has going on. All of that information down in the description. Gamer Circle Podcast. Do not forget it. Go show some support and love. Go watch the videos. Listen to the podcast. Leave comments. All that good stuff. Once again, thank you, Asante, for taking your time to hang out with us this Saturday evening, bro. Thank you so much. Shout out to wifey and the family for letting us borrow you for a couple hours, man. So
this is my respite, brothers. This is my respite. I love it. It's good.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. But let me go ahead and get to my compadres here. Mr. Pong Soul, man. Been a week for you, I know. Lots of stuff going on in real life, but you made it today.
Yes.
We made it through the show. You got here a little early, so appreciate you, brother. But let everybody know if they don't already know.
Absolutely, and what a freaking amazing show it was. Fuzzy just made my jaw drop with the tea leaves right there. I had not heard that one yet. Usually he's in our DMs dropping the craziness, but I think him and Everborn should probably get together.
I was about to say that is really Everborn worthy. Really? I was seriously about to say that is an Everborn worthy conspiracy theory. And when it comes through, both of y'all are just gonna be just amazing. We're gonna call y'all Negro Damuses.
Oh man, but it was amazing tonight. Chat, you guys were off the charts as always. Thank you for stopping by. But of course, I've got to give the praise to Kei Asante for coming through yet again. Brother, you know what it is. All love and respect to you and everything that you do. Love podcasting with you, sir. Love hearing your voice, your takes, everything about it is just awesome. So thank you for being here, man, and giving us your time for sure. PTK and, of course, Fuzzy. Brothers, you also know nothing but love and respect for both of you. Thank you for both being here. The coup almost happened tonight, Blam. The coup almost happened.
Trying to take me out tonight, man. I don't know what you got going on. Who you paying in the background? This has been mutiny for the last few weeks, Kei Asante. I don't know. We got some. I don't know what's going on here, man. What you
Look,
been
just
trying
don't go back. Just don't go back and look at the chat because they were so happy it'll disappoint you. Okay, when that happened, they were like, "Finally, Pong is taking over. Fuzzy is the
Lies.
co-captain."
Lies, all lies.
Absolutely.
No, it was a great show. Just again, I love ending my Saturday night with you boys. So thank you all for that. Great topics tonight. Great conversation for sure. Again, Fuzzy's just blowing my mind. Now my mind's reeling with this thought. Anyways, you guys can all find me Pong Soul on Xbox, Pong Soul on Twitter. You guys all know the drill there. If I'm available, I will be on the Xbox Factor podcast on Tuesday. I probably won't because it's month end. Work gets extremely busy, even more so than normal. But, again, just check it out anyways. You already know it's Double Barrel Gaming, the channel. Mr. Boomstick is the man. It's all good things green on Tuesdays at 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 o'clock Central Time. He's added people to the full-time panel, so no matter how many of us are there, you know you're going to have great conversation. So join there on Tuesdays. Again, Xbox Factor Podcast. Thursdays, it's PM in the PM, Pong and Mav in the PM over on Fun Speculations channel. We are building a great Thursday night crew over there. And you need to drop in. It's a two-man show. We just go through the topics. We get the chat involved. I actually get the host chair because Mav was crazy enough to give it to me. So I get to run the show. Not, of course, behind the scenes. He does that. And we all really know that Caitlin is the boss over there. So she's really handling the business.
Too. I saw her
Shout out to
chat
Caitlin.
today.
Absolutely. But come on over and check us out. PM in the PM, Thursday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 o'clock Central Time. Then back on Fun Speculations channel for Xbox Ultimate every Friday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock Central Time. It's always a good time. We went left real early last night. Fuzzy can attest to this. We didn't get out of the outros or intros, I should say, without going left. It was crazy. We had brother Mike Mullis, shout out to NLG and the old timers over there. Look, we had a great time. We roasted him last night. It's been a while since we had him on. So go check out that show. But every Friday night, check us out on Xbox Ultimate. It is fun to spend your Friday nights there. And then, of course, Saturday mornings, and we're going to talk about this because, of course, we go head to head with Asante and Everborn over there, right? So, but you got to come check out the Living Split Screen. It's a 2-tab Saturday every morning on Saturday. So have us both going. So you got to check out Living Split Screen with my brother from another Steel, Rain, and I, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time. And again, we do outdo them over there because we do go for 3+ hours every week, normally 4. Again, today was over 4. So join us, even if you go listen to them, come on over. We'll still be going.
Absolutely.
Asante drops in after
same.
his show.
I do the same every week. I drop in every week.
He
Yes,
drops
sir.
in. But we have a great time. Me and Steele have a great morning show. So check us out there as well.
Shout out to
Again,
Steele.
10 a.m. Shout out to Steele. 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time every Saturday morning. Otherwise, I'll be back here next week. But it is the golden age of gaming, people. I've seen some stuff lately, some negative Nancy's out here trying to drag down people, trying to tell people that it's not the golden age, that gaming just isn't the same anymore. Listen, if you feel that way, that's your opinion. But you don't have to try to bring other people down. So just avoid those people like the plague. If you're having a great time, if you realize that you're playing more games than you've ever played before, and that we're just starting this generation, it hasn't really even gotten off the ground yet. Listen, you are in for a treat. So enjoy it. Play what you love what you play. I'm going to talk to you all real soon.
Appreciate you, man. Always the battery of the shop podcast, Mr. Pong. So, man, catch that man all week. All week. Appreciate you, bro. Always being here, consistent on the show. And last but not least, Mr. Fuzzy Belvedere, man. Go ahead and let everybody know where they can catch up with you at.
Oh, it was awesome being on here with you guys, and it was awesome having Asante as a guest today. Always love hearing your takes on things, and always a shout out to the chat for being awesome and interacting with us and giving us those questions and whatnot. But man, oh man, I just enjoy doing this stuff, and it's always fun playing games and getting to talk about them. It's pretty much my favorite hobby nowadays. But for anybody that just wants to hear my ramblings on anything gaming related, just follow me on Twitter at Fuzzy_Belvedere or on YouTube, Fuzzy_Belvedere. Thank you so much.
Appreciate you, Fuzz. Always super consistent at the show as well, man. And last but not least, your boy PTK Blam, the host with the most here at the Shop Podcast, man. Follow me, PTK Blam, everywhere, Twitter, everywhere else you can find me as well on YouTube as well. Appreciate you guys for hanging out with us. So we will be bringing this show again next week, same time, same place. More than likely a brand new guest. So tune in. Catch you guys. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Please be safe as possible. Catch you guys next week. Peace out.
Later.